In addition to algorithmic changes, Google, Yahoo, and Bing also, from time to time, come together to define new standards for how search engines should work and how websites should organize their content. Sometimes Google might announce changes on its own, sometimes it'll work with Bing and Yahoo and other players. For example, the no-follow link attribute was introduced by Google, Yahoo, and Bing together to address the problem of spammy links. Similarly, the canonical attribute was introduced to address the problem of duplicate content on sites. Many times, site owners create duplicate content to serve a specific objective. They are not really trying to create duplicate content to fool Google or Bing, but they are doing so because of business needs. For example, they might want to track conversion rates from different channels. So they might be running ad on LinkedIn and an ad on Google AdWords, and they want to track those results separately. They want those traffic to go to separate pages so they can measure how different campaigns are doing from different channels. Now, the landing pages, because they sell the same product, the content might be very similar. So they might look like a duplicate pages to search engines. Now, it's a genuine business problem. The canonical attribute was introduced to help site owners in these kind of situations. On the other hand, the no-follow link attribute was introduced to reduce the weightage to links where the site owners on whose site the link was created were not ready to vouch for the quality of the link, either because the link was not created by them or they are not sure about the quality of the link. So the link was there, but it would be downgraded by adding a no follow attribute telling search engines not to follow the link. Because search engines give so much importance to backlinks, people keep finding ways of creating backlinks from other sites. One of the ways to get backlinks is to post comments on other blogs. While commenting on blog is a very healthy practice, and including a link in the blog comment is also an acceptable practice, what really happened was people started misusing this. So people were just going around looking at blogs wherever they could post a comment, they would post a comment with a link back to their site in order to gain a backlink. The comments are designed to increase participation and discussion. So if you are posting a comment on a blog, you should ideally read the blog and post a comment that adds to the discussion, adds some value to people who are reading that blog. Instead, if you just start spamming the comments by talking about your website and inserting a link, then it becomes a spam. And as the blogs took off in early part of 2000, people started commenting on blogs and getting backlinks. And then the no follow attribute was introduced as a means of countering those spammy links. So what it really did was it said if a link has value, it should be a do follow link. If a link has no value, it should be a no follow link. So the site owners can add the no follow attribute to any link that they do not want search engines to follow or give SEO benefit for. Since most of the links introduced in the comments are created by users and not by site owners, the site owners started adding the no follow attribute to links contained in the comments. And that became a disincentive for people to comment on blogs with a link just for the purpose of getting a backlink. Because once a link has no follow, it loses all its SEO weightage. So Google will not give your site credit for the backlink and give your ranking a bump if the link has a no follow attribute to it. So it has helped clean up links not created by webmasters or blog authors. And it has brought the blog comments importance down over the years. However, it has not eliminated the spam. Even though the nofollow attribute tells search engines that the page the link points to should not get SEO benefit, many people continue to do spammy comments. The canonical attribute, on the other hand, was introduced to help site owners manage their content better. The canonical attribute, on the other hand, was introduced to help site owners manage their site better. Many times, site owners had to create duplicate content, and when they created it, search engines ended up penalizing the site owners. So, in February 2009, the three big search engines announced support for a canonical attribute or canonical tag that tells search engines that the current page is a copy of the original content and tells the URL of the original content. In this way, site owners can manage duplicate content on their website without getting penalized by search engines. So search engines look at the page, and if they find canonical tag, they say, okay, this page is not the original content. The original content is in the URL contained in canonical tag. So what it does is it passes all the SEO benefits of the current page to the page whose URL is included in the canonical tag. So there is less incentive for people to create duplicate content. If you create duplicate content and do not use canonical tag, search engines will find it and still penalize for cheating. But if you have duplicate content and you use canonical tag, then your site is not penalized for duplicate content or cheating. So if you reproduce content from another site and you use canonical tag, you will not be penalized for plagiarism either, because you are telling Google, look, I'm just reusing the content on my page. In reality, this content belongs to somebody else, and here's the URL where this content belongs. And go and give all the SEO benefits to this particular page. So being truthful helps you overcome the duplicate penalty from search engines. And canonical attribute is a way for site owners or administrators to be truthful about the content on their site.